Okay, we're doing it. We are live. Hey guys, my name's Sarah. I am a psychic medium intuitive. Next gen medium is what I call like my business or like website or the things that I share about my experience as a psychic medium, which didn't always exist. That was not always my truth. I do it under next gen medium. The trouble with the name is I don't I don't want people thinking like I'm calling myself next gen medium, because the whole point of what I do is to share my story that there was a time I didn't know I could do those things. I had experiences that were like, that was weird, but I didn't know that I was psychic or that I could do mediumship or what intuition was or any of that stuff. Like I didn't connect that stuff to me. But then there was a time and I took a class, and then all of a sudden things changed. And I spent a year like investigating, like, is this real? Is psychic abilities like something I could do? Is it real? And I did lots of things. I did lots of meditations. I did lots of readings with people. I met other people who do this stuff. I went to retreats. I don't know if I'd call it a retreat. Um, I would call it a workshop weekend. I think that's a good way to put it. I joined a circle to practice with other people who were interested in this stuff. I met teachers and mentors, and after a year, it was real life. It became real life, and it changed my life. And within the first week of exploring this stuff, like really putting my effort into exploring it, I had a spiritual awakening, which is something you can't ignore. And it wasn't a choosing kind of spiritual awakening. It was like something happened and I felt very different. And it kept going for weeks and weeks and weeks and felt great. It felt really good. It's the most connected I feel like I've ever been to my human beingness and maybe like the universe that I ever experienced. And now the trouble is that I have to live the rest of my life knowing that exists and wanting that again. But I don't think I've quite gotten to that place back there yet. But anyway, so I started Next Gen Medium to share my journey, to share that it was possible to not know and then to own it, to accept a new reality. And I've been doing it for almost 7 years at this point. So, one of my newer fun things is astrology. And astrology really wasn't something I cared about until a few years ago when I started going through some health stuff. And it was just sort of the beginning of the journey of a downward spiral with my health. And I feel like I'm still in that spiral to some extent. But astrology has been something that I was very guarded about wanting to, I don't know if accept is the word, but like willing for it to maybe be part of my truth. Reserved about it because to me, it's somebody else's rules. Somebody else made up the meanings of like what things are and where they go and what happens. Like, but the more I observe and connect with my own happenings of my own birth chart, with the things that are happening in the sky, and the archetype energies associated with astrology, understanding it as the wisdom of ancient humanity that we've become disconnected from, that modern humans wouldn't be able to connect with because we're so disconnected. We're so disconnected from our humanity that we want to move away from it. We're creating things. I'm getting too deep here. We're creating things outside of ourselves because these are the things that we're disconnected from inside. So, like, the invention of the phone is a way for us to communicate far away with people. That's what telepathy is for, you know? And I can say stuff like that and people will be like, well, that's bullshit. Like humans haven't been able to have telepathy and that's why we have phones and like, you're crazy, lady. Like, I understand that point of view. But I have come to understand the world very, very differently and come to understand being a human very differently. And I think astrology is a way for us to reconnect with a sense of our humanity that we've lost for many years. Not to say that it's not of us anymore. It absolutely is of us. And there's a reconnection that we can do. There's a revitalization, a rebirth. And maybe we're there. Maybe we're there. Maybe this is the time. A time when humans need to figure out what it means to be a human. We're having artificial intelligence becoming smarter than us. Is that our humanity? Is our intelligence? Well, we're talking about AI also having sentience, like, is that getting closer to our humanity? Is intelligence and sentience? Like, these are the philosophies we are, kind of face to face with at this point. And we're watching jobs on the precipice of disappearing. So how are we going to make money? What are we sustaining? What are we going to prioritize and prize if humans can't make money doing work? What will work be if it's not working in a factory because now robots are doing that? What will work be if I can just put a paragraph into ChatGPT and it can spit out a whole PDF for me? That's a lead magnet. That's, 3 or 4 people would have done at one point. And now I just go to AI and it does it for me. Like, what's work now? What does it mean to be human? Okay. These are the questions we are coming to as modern humans. I think astrology helps us connect with our humanity. I think it helps us connect with a humanity that understood the world very differently, understand the concepts of the universe very philosophically, but almost like spiritually. I there's no almost about it. It was spiritual. And the more I've learned about astrology through Nightlight Astrology, Adam Ellen Boss, um, Heather, Astrology with Heather. There's going to be so many. Penny Thornton. Oh man, Rick Levine. There's so many. Who am I forgetting? There's some really great people out there. I'd love to give you a full list here, but maybe I'll put that in a blog post. The more I've gotten to learn about it, the more I realize the ancient wisdom of humans and that it's still relevant today. In fact, it's probably more relevant than ever before. Okay, what am I doing with this video? I wanted to show you guys something I offer, and it's with astrology. But my mission, like I said, I didn't know I could do psychic stuff. And now I've been doing psychic stuff. What year is it? Since 2018. So that's like 7 years. Yeah, that anniversary is come and gone. 7 years. I've done psychic mediumship readings for 7 years. I started my website, blog, podcasts. I've created e-courses. I've created PDF guides. I'm in the process of writing a book to share my experience, but also to teach people how I think it can be taught. And part of it has to do with like what I experienced and what got me capable of using my imagination to see information. So there's sort of three things that I focus on that throughout these 7 years, it wasn't like I knew it all. It's not like, you know, a teacher descended from the skies and was like teaching me, the ways. I think there were definitely downloads that I got, and that is central and pivotal to what I teach and how I teach, to help people connect with this piece of themselves. And so I focus on psychic ability in order to understand truth. I focus on intuition in order to gain trust with your tools and trust with the self and trust outside of the self. And then the third piece is one that I'm still trying to streamline. I'm still trying to figure out how to package it all together in a really small little package that's easy to understand, but it focuses on merging with the higher self. Stay with me. It focuses on a sense of being able to have control and sort of manifest without saying the word manifest, because I can't do the word manifest anymore, you guys. I won't. The point is to have choice and freedom. And really, it's just choice. If I don't say freedom, then you don't realize that's part of the choice. Higher self freedom. Like, see how I have to go boop, 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 boop. Let's merge it all together. Freedom. Truth, trust, freedom. Truth, trust, choice. All together. The modern human being is disconnected from these things. Disconnected. They don't know what truth feels like. They don't know how to trust themselves because their tools don't work. They're not meant to work. Oh, I'm getting mad. And then we don't recognize choice because we're stuck in what we think reality is, and that's our story. These are our biases. This is our Neptunian vision of what life is, as opposed to the Neptunian observation that leads you to freedom. It's not easy. I understand the concepts. I still suck with the execution. And I want to help people do that. Understand the concepts. Start to witness the skills and abilities that you have. They're there. And that's why I like using astrology. We are looking at a birth chart right now, by the way. And with astrology, what we grow to understand is that the energies that were sort of the help of the makeup of your soul, your identity, your how you work, how you love, how you think and speak. All of this was there the day you were born. This is one day. This is a snapshot of a day, a time, a place on earth. and how the sky looked when this person was born. And what this is showing us isn't the planets influencing us. This is the planets sharing energies that are present for all in the universe at that time, this specific space time. All right. Now, here's the other thing I understand about astrology, my own understanding of astrology, and it's philosophy. This is what you got, but it's not what you have to die with. Do you understand? There's choice, there's freedom, there's free will that can help you transcend any of this if you want to. I believe that. I don't think you're stuck with this. Not stuck. And lucky for this person, he's not stuck with this either. I mean, it's not terrible. Can you tell he's famous? I'm going to tell you who it is in a second. But here's what I want to do in this video. And there's going to be a couple videos because obviously I take forever to do anything because I'm just chatting and talking forever and ever. I never stop. I just did a reading that was supposed to be, I wanted it to be 25 minutes long. You know how long it was? It was an hour and a half. This poor guy. Every time I do a reading, I'm always apologizing at the end because of how long it is. But I hope, everything that I say has some sort of value to somebody somewhere in these videos, but also in the readings, that are specific for those who request them. This person did not request a reading, but I was kind of combining these two ideas of like, I want to do a chart analysis on this person because I think it's a really fascinating chart. But then I was like, wait a second, I can combine it with sharing the the reports and analysis that I do where I'm talking about astrology and what's showing up in someone's chart, but also the analysis I do to help connect people with their intuition, their psychic ability, merging with that higher self. And this is where I also got to bring in purpose, practicing purpose. There's a way it moves. There's a way it flows for you. And this picture says everything. Says everything. And what I was trying to get to a second ago, the stars and planets, they were all right there when you were born. And you know what's in these stars and planets? Telling you about your psychic ability, telling you about your intuition, telling you about purpose, telling you about your higher self, telling you about your tools, your sensing tools. It's all right there. But, we aren't taught that that stuff's there. In astrology, we're not even taught how to use our intuition. There's a reason why we're not taught that. And that's because if we were taught that, then we probably wouldn't be listening to who we're told authority is. Let's change that. Uranus is still in Gemini, right? Yeah, it is. You know how I know? My nervous system. Uranus is right on my sun sign. And it's not felt good. Not good. Big changes. Big money. All right. So we're going to look at this guy's chart. And guess what? We're going to learn not only the astrology that's going on here in this person's birth chart, talking about his personal energies, his identity energies, talking about where authority is in his chart or whatever, where there's a lot of energy towards what areas of his life. But we're also going to learn about how his intuition works. So that is one of the readings that I offer. And so I thought, hey, I'll show people what I do when I do these readings. So first of all, I always do a video. Now, sometimes it doesn't have my face on it. It's usually a slideshow, but you can hear me talk, you know? And so if you are the kind of person where you're driving places or you're going for walks or you're going for runs or you do something, you're on the treadmill and you want to listen to something, I got chats for you specifically. And, I can take up a half hour at a time. You can count on that. How long is this video already? Too fucking long. Probably. I like to think that it's worth the time. So that's one of the analysis that I do. I record a video, but I also create a report because I'm the kind of person that likes to look at a thing and like read it. I also like paper. Remember paper? The second report and analysis that I do is I look at the traditional Indian ways of reading a Vedic through Vedic astrology. And we look at the purpose houses and we analyze that. Now, that is only a part of that report because I also want to look at how you practice purpose. Because in this reading, we're challenging the idea of purpose. It's not a destination, it's how you get there. And so that is what I bring for the practice of purpose portion of a purpose analysis. We're looking at the astrology through traditional Vedic astrology and how they look at purpose houses. But I also dive into your practice of purpose. And we're going to do that for this individual. Who is this guy? Oh, we're getting closer to understanding who it is. Famous man. Can you see the birth date and time on there and the location? And then last up, we're looking at transits. I love transits. I love the idea of looking at where energies are going to be focused in what areas of your life and when. To me, this is like the most exciting part of astrology. I could really give an F about the other stuff, but this is super fascinating to me. So, not only do I look at what's going on right now for you, what energies are present, where they're affecting areas in your life, I want to look at how they got there and how long this has been going on. We are in a huge transition point right now. So like I already have it set up how I'm going to do it right now, but like 6 months from now I got to retool how I'm going to do it. But so we're looking at what's going on right now. We're looking at what's been going on the past couple of years, and then I'm looking in the future. April 28th, 26th, 2026. That's where I'm looking in the future. But there's more to come after that. So it's not like we're done after that date, but that's what I'm looking at for transits, how it applies for you in your chart. But what's related to understanding the past and the present and the future is your psychic ability. And I am really impressed with myself because I think I've come up with a really great way for you to understand your psychic abilities, looking at your tools, getting specific with what works for you, looking at the astrology and suggesting, okay, according to this astrology, this might be a really good tool for you. Okay? So there's like one part of the process, because the other part of the process is I'm giving you exercises that exercise those tools. Not only that, I am taking a look at the upcoming astrology for the next 8 weeks, and I'm finding dates that I think the veil would be thinnest, where things would be most accessible for you to not only do exercises, but like do the practices that could be the practices that get you those moments of psychic artifacts. Doing meditation. Meditation's how I did my thing. I got to pass it along. Let me say this. When we talk about synchronicities, like that's a part of the mix. That gets you excited. That lifts the vibration. These are things that you are noticing more and more. They get you excited. You're feeling a connection to the universe. You're feeling like there's something bigger. Synchronicities are great, but they're not the things that are going to push things over the edge for you to be like, holy shit, this reality is so different than I thought it was. Oh my God, everything has changed. Synchronicities, they're not going to get you there. Seeing in your mind's eye or witnessing in your mind's eye information that you hadn't obtained before, being able to cross-reference its truth, because that's how we get evidence, that's what changes your life. And so I give you exercises to do before these particular dates. I give you things to do on those dates, and I tell you how to move forward from there. I don't know why people aren't knocking down my door for this because this will change your life. It's telling you what to focus on. That's part of the battle, is you don't know what to focus on. So these are the 3 reports that I provide for people, and we're going to do it with this guy. His name is Billie Joe Armstrong. He's my favorite rock star. I've loved Billie Joe. Didn't mean to say that. I've appreciated Billie Joe since I was 8 or 9 years old, when I was just a wee little girl growing up in Winterport, Maine, and loving Green Day. I wore Green Day shirts all the time. I was known as the girl that likes Green Day. And I still love them. They are my guys. And Billie Joe, he has been an important presence in my life, even though he probably has zero idea I exist. There was like 3 seconds where he knew I existed, okay? 3. But and it was a pleasant experience. It wasn't like I was stalking him or anything. So we're going to do an analysis for Billie Joe Armstrong, and we're going to get to know his birth chart, what's going on there. Something I was thinking of doing anyway, but I'm throwing in all the other things so people can see what it looks like when I deliver an analysis. So we're going to do birth chart reading, intuition analysis. So that's the first thing we're going to focus on. So we're going to be looking at what's called his big 6 personal energies. So we're looking at his higher self energy, his emotional energy, the conditioned self. We're going to be looking at how he thinks and communicates, how he does relationships, and how he moves, how he does what he does, taking action. And then we'll go into the generational energies, which are the outer planets, and we'll analyze those. I do like to come up with a sort of a name when it comes to the personal energies. That's like a 3-word name that encompasses each of the personality energies. And then we're going to take a look at his intuition. We're going to take a look at his tools. We're going to look at the planets that are associated with different aspects of his intuitive process. And there is a process to it. And I love to share it, because if you don't know the process, then you're sort of like, it's easy to be dismissive of intuition. But once someone introduces the process, this is how intuition works, And even if I don't have all the answers to like, where does it come from? I don't know. I don't care. And honestly, if you want to know, that's part of your spiritual journey to find an answer for that. And honestly, I shouldn't be providing you an answer for that. That's up to you. That's you to answer. Okay? But if someone has like a process, like this is how it works, then as you go about your everyday life, you're thinking about that process and it's ringing in your head and it's sticking in there as something that's like, that one person said that thing. And now it seems like I've kind of been seeing that pattern in my life. Holy shit, if I can do that for you, even if you don't feel a sense of truth with your intuition, but maybe that there's a plausibility that the process of intuition, what I introduced, that could maybe open up that reality to you, then I've done my job. I did it. I did it. You're welcome. So there's that we're going to do. And then the second thing we're going to do is we're going to take a look at his houses of purpose. We're going to mesh it all together to make sense of sort of his natural role in this crazy mess of reality that we live in. And then we're going to get into understanding his practice of purpose, how he becomes inspired, how he moves that from a mental place into the physical reality. And how it gets delivered. There's a process to that as well. And then last up, we'll take a look at, I can't wait for this one because right now he's going through a beautiful metamorphosis. This is a man who, I mean, spoiler alert, Pluto is sitting right at the top of his chart at 1 degree, Libra. Libra is a great sign for music. And Pluto is about transformation, death, rebirth. It's some deep, deep things that is not an easy planet to have in such a prominent place on your chart. At the top of the chart. This is sort of like people know you as something transformative. I want to go into analysis already. I won't. But 1 degree, that is a very important degree. That is sort of this symbol of birth of the Libra concept, as opposed to the 29 last degree. This is like the struggling Libra who's burnt out and wants a cigarette. You know, I feel you. Libra 29 degree. So that's a pretty interesting placement. Why did I talk about that? I don't know. I think I was just looking at it and it was just kind of speaking to me. But when we take a look at this last analysis, I don't know why I mentioned the Pluto. It was right there at the top of his chart in Libra. I don't know. But we're going to be taking a look at his transits. Okay, I think I know why I was talking about Pluto, because he is going through a really harmonious change. And I know personally as a fan that he had a rough couple of years in recent years. And to see the harmony that is just singing in his chart right now with the current transits, it makes me feel good that someone that I admire and I care about is doing all right, considering maybe things hadn't been so great lately. And he's not alone in feeling like that. if he feels like them. But we get to look at the past couple years, what's going on now, what's coming up, because there have been a lot of changes for everybody's chart. 3 major shifts. Well, we can say 4 major shifts happening almost simultaneously in the past, at least the past year. But really, we're kind of looking back to, or 3 years. Obviously, COVID was sort of like a kickoff of the craziness, but it really was kind of going crazy, really crazy after that. So we'll be talking about that in that report analysis, as well as giving Billie Joe something to do if he watches these videos, in which we will be analyzing his psychic tools. And I'll be giving him assignments, exercises to do, dates to test those psychic senses, those psychic abilities, giving him the instructions on what to do on those days, and then telling him what to do after that. I'm just reviewing my notes here. Now, with all of these reports and analysis, my next step for anybody is, in order to really get these tools underneath your belt, you need to develop this is what I know now. And I think my spiritual awakening happening helped initiate for me. And what it has to do with is taking the reins back of your attention and awareness. We're in default mode all the time. It's how we're expected to show up at work. It's how we're expected to show up to entertain friends. It's how we're expected to show up with children, is this sense of like, all right, I'm sitting and standing right here, and now it is expected of me for my attention to be here, listening to you and your story, or doing this task at work, or helping you with your homework, And so, or scrolling through the phone and letting the socials letting the socials just, control that attention. But I say attention and awareness. And so this is where I would direct anybody to go to my website, nextgenmedium.com, or go in the comments below. I've got a PDF that starts the attention and awareness piece. That is how we need to stop the loop of our default mode and decide to do something different, decide to change. And with that, that's when you can really get started on doing the work. If you don't do it, then you keep being the robot human that you already have become accustomed to being. Which means you don't trust yourself, and you trust outside of the self, even though you don't know who to trust outside the self. You can't trust outside if you can't trust inside. You don't know what that is. You don't know what it feels like. You don't know what truth is. It's funny. We look at the stuff that AI is creating nowadays, and sometimes, you can be like, too many teeth or too many fingers, But it is getting to the point where Hollywood made an actress who's AI generated, and she looks pretty real. But But here's the thing. We have been bamboozled for a long, long time. And it's hard to know what truth is when throughout your lifetime you've been fed like, this is the truth. This is true. This is true. We've trusted institutions to have integrity to feed us truth. And I'm a 90s kid, so, Columbus Day was just a Columbus Day. And then, now I'm an adult and now it's Indigenous Peoples Day, like truth creates integrity and, like how people understand things and how things evolve, it really depends on who we're getting information from, where we're getting information from, what the information means to us. And I got to say, being able to access truth, where truth shouldn't be in my imagination, is pretty liberating. And being able to do that has allowed me to feel what truth is. I won't go there, but there's this thank God there's a phrase, noetic, Noetic, noetic. And this is sort of, thank God there's a word for it because there's so many things that don't have words. Noetic, that is feeling truth, feeling truth. And I gotta say, as a psychic medium and looking at prominent figures in our lives right now, and I am, American, Western civilization, in my own little bubble of reality here. I understand that, the way that Americans deal with things is kind of, I get that. I think it's fucked up too. But when I look at famous people that have a lot of money or are in very prominent, powerful positions, I see the same lies, but with different faces. And it feels fake and it feels empty. There's one musician that gets a lot of attention. And every time I see this person's face, I go, how are people not seeing how fake this is? Like, I don't understand how people can connect with this individual because it's not authentic. It's not real. It bothers me. It allows for me to see the congruence with why America is politically where it's at. And why I go, we deserve what's happening. One, but two, this is not sustainable. We are watching the end and a new beginning. What is going to be after this? What is this going to lead to? What is it beginning? That's what we get to choose. And that's why I do these things and why I care so much and why I've been through fucking hell this year and I'm fucking tired of sitting around and being unable to do anything because the urgency is palpable. And that's why I want to share these things and you guys get started on your journey because time's a ticking. Things are falling apart. Truth, trust, freedom. Do you feel any of those things right now? You shouldn't, unless you feel a trust and truth and choice with the tools that you have that are free, that you were born with, that nobody taught you how to do until now. I'm telling you and I'm showing you. Okay, go to my website, nextgenmedium.com. I am starting a community. Let's go to my website here. I had to disconnect my external keyboard in order to plug in my camera. This is my website. At the top, you see Sovereign Self Foundations Education Center, or you can scroll down. Sovereign Self Metaphysical Abilities Training Center. I'm going to click it. And this is where you can start your journey. I am starting a community. I would love to see 2005 become 2006 and for my community to launch. Next Gen Sovereign. It's spelled stupidly. I thought it looked cool. Innate metaphysical abilities integration, training, community, career. Tell me you want to be a part of it. Give me your name. Give me your email. Tell me you want to join the waiting list. You can click sign me up. I want to get a pre-release discount. This will allow people to sign up before it launches. So I know you want to do it. NBD, no big deal. And when you sign up, actually, you don't have to sign up. I should make you sign up so that you can start the phase 1 foundation. But here's the map. Like this shows you what your journey will be. And this is what my community is based on. The Next Gen Sovereign. Metaphysical abilities integration. So we're learning skills of intuition. We're learning skills of psychic and mediumship. I don't say mediumship that often because I think mediumship scares people because it has to do with death and dying and people. And if you're going to be part of this community, know that death is not that big of a deal. Like, calm down. I can't fight this cultural weird thing that people just can't get past. I know it's hard to watch suffering and dying and death, but death is the release. Death is when you don't have to deal with this body anymore. Like, that sometimes doesn't. I should just stop. Skills, higher self-connection, purpose, choice. Put it all together there. But the training and attention awareness, that is numero uno. This is the first phase of the foundation. This is personal exploration. You don't do this with anybody. This is you reading the stuff that I got for you, you trying out the exercises that I tell you to try. So we click here. This whole thing is about your foundation and your personal exploration. And it starts with attention and awareness. That is number 1. You have to do this. It's boring. This is the hardest part of the process. I am learning that I'm doing this anyway. I am learning that I may be ADHD. Maybe. Which means it's really hard for me to do things I don't want to do. This would be something I would not want to do. But experiencing what I've experienced and going through what I've gone through, just do it, because there's going to be a time when you come back to it because you realize how important it was. Okay? You can download that right now. I friggin' finished it. It's ready for you. I'm working on the next PDF, which is about psychic skills. So download not yet, because that is on my to-do list this weekend. Okay, so that would be the second PDF I have for you. The third one is about intuition. Again, I got to make it. I'm still working on it. I've been down in the dumps, so you got to give me some time to like become human again here and to get my ass moving on this stuff. And then higher self merging, practicing purpose, choice and freedom. This one is about understanding emotions. Because when people, and I have this in the slideshow for this reading analysis, but people need to understand that where you are with your energetic being, your mood and emotions tell you that. And one of the purposes of life is to try to get up to feeling good as often as possible. Like that is the goal. And merging with the higher self does that because that's high vibration, that's high energy. That's your natural vibe. That's merging with the God self, and the God self is utilizing higher energy. See, we get philosophical here, but this is where we bring in that manifestation piece. This is where we bring in feeling good is the goal, and everything else comes along with that. This is Abraham Hicks stuff. Okay. And then the next step, we're doing this self-discovery stuff. We're doing, personal exploration. We're building foundation. This is like doing your own homework, doing your own reading. Don't move. It did it. But there comes a point when you experience so many things that you get really excited and you want to share it with people. You want to count on these abilities. You want to become friends with other people that are experiencing the same amazing things you're going through because you want to share it. We're social creatures. That's what we want to do. And that's where phase 2 integration comes in. And that's when you join my community, Next Gen Sovereign. Right? That's what I named it. I just came up with the name last night. Look at that graphic though. Come on. And then, so with the community, I want to do, weekly chats. I want to do practicing with each other. I want to do things that I don't even know what I want to do yet. But okay. I want to do things that I don't even know what I want to do yet, because part of building the community is seeing what's wanted and what's needed, what's requested, what people think, like, hey, we should do, it'd be really cool if we did this. And then I like, oh, okay. Like I want to do things that people feel compelled to do, because that's us moving towards our higher self. And that is what we want to harness. But I want to help bring people together, because this is how you create culture and this is how you create change. So with this phase 2, we're bringing people together. We're honing in our skills. We're creating skills that we feel like we can tap into and that we can trust. That's where the trust really gets built in. This is also where truth can get built in as well. Truth and trust take time though. But with that third piece of choice, this is sort of philosophical. This is something that is more habitual and ritual, and it changes. It changes when your reality changes. So you'll probably get sort of a basic understanding of it in that phase 1, phase 2. You talk about it with other people, so you're starting to understand it in a different way. Phase 3, I call mastermind. Alignment and service. This is when you're really embodying your higher self to like the highest degree you've ever experienced. And there is desire to want to teach or share this stuff, your psychic ability, your intuition, your higher self, maybe these philosophies, maybe the sort of culture we have you want to bring to your community, your hometown, your family. Maybe you're a teacher, whatever. These when there's sort of an embodiment, you become a steward. You become a representative. And that's phase 3. That's embodiment. This is also where I want to build like professionals group for people that are Reiki practitioners, are tarot readers, are psychics, mediums, intuitives, medical intuitives, whatever. I really want to put a group together where we can all support each other, where you feel a sense of truth and trust in being a professional, because it's really hard to do that. But if you're around others who feel secure or are a little more secure in how you feel, that is something we can bring together and share and build integrity together and build like a network together. So that's what I want to do with Mastermind. And maybe even be like a resource for those practitioners that need to learn how to market, need to know like, how do I build a website, or who do I go to for a website, or, like what works in order to, you know, be on the web, the whole world, and how do I get these specific kinds of people, like my perfect clients. That's something that I really love. I love to look into marketing and sales stuff, but I also want to help build a community that seems to have a lot of difficulty with that. But that it doesn't have to just be those things. I think really why I built that mastermind piece was because there was a professional that I wanted to work with, and she had a brick and mortar and was this close to starting to do like training classes with her, and market that stuff. And she closed up her shop and became she quit everything, and she put this post up and was talking about how she went back to Christianity and all this stuff, which is fine. Like, okay, yeah. But there was something in me that wanted to like go talk to her and be like, what happened? And like, and then there was something inside of me that was like, she didn't feel certainty that what she was offering was legit. And I went through at that time that she did that, I went through the deepest depression of my life where I felt nothing for weeks. And I remember like having visualizations of the bottom, like what that was. And I could smell it, and I had a visualization of it, and it was not scary, but it was, I don't know what it was. It didn't feel good. But what rang true, even in those moments of like smelling the bottom, was the legitimacy of what I've experienced, what I can do, and what I can share with the world, and that there was still a mission there. It was in my bones. Even if I felt like my humanity was gone because I felt no joy or inspiration for weeks and weeks. I couldn't even cry. I was still capable of having a mission, even if there was zero motivation to do it, because I couldn't do anything. And to think that this person put so much money into, building a business and having clientele, and, it's brick and mortar. So you have to have physical things and a space, and a great space, and a great little town. And to think that she was not certain of what she was offering. Like, oh my gosh. That's why I built the mastermind. To build certainty. Okay, so we're going to do the analysis. This is too long. And check out stuff below. That includes the PDFs that I'm showing you here. Please sign up for the new Next Gen Sovereign Education Center and Community coming January 2026. I'm not sure how I'm going to price it. I don't know. But step one, you got to do the foundation stuff. And what I give you for this first PDF, it can take a couple weeks. And that's great, because that's you tuning your attention and awareness, just like the PDF says. I'm so smart. It's like I wrote that. I wrote that. And then in this next video, we are going to analyze Billie Joe Armstrong's birth chart. Nerd alert. And we're going to take a look as well as it is at his intuition. We're going to do an analysis of that, and it's going to be really exciting. I can't wait. Look out for that soon. Like and subscribe. Check out nextgenmedium.com. If you want a reading analysis, you got to sign up. Oh, by the way, I think it's $50 per report, or if you bundle all three, it's $125. So you get some money off. But those prices are going up on October 20th. So sign up for those now. And I have a form. I'm going to put the link below. Sign up for those now so that, you get the price before it goes up. I got stuff at my shop at nextgenmedium.com, including Soul Abilities Discovery Workshop. It's so in depth, and it's a lot of stuff. That's probably going to take you, actually, if you look, secret thing I'm going to be passing along. No, maybe I won't say that. I will say, if you sign up for the course, this is the secret thing. You might get into that community rather quickly. If you sign up for that course, you might get an invite that maybe says, "Hey, you want to do this for free for a year?" Because you did a bunch of the stuff, and you might ready to be integrated into this community. So I probably shouldn't be saying that, but yeah, I got a course. nextgenmedium.com is where you can check out that Soul Abilities workshop. It's 4 modules. So you can take a look at that. I got a PDF that's a quick guide. Get started now. I think that's $8. Of course, I do psychic medium readings, and actually, I've been feeling really good the past couple weeks, and my psychic skills are on it. So if you want a reading, 45 minutes, I think it's $125 right now. So check that out on nextgenmedium.com for readings. And yeah, we'll see you in the next video to analyze Billie Joe Armstrong's birth chart. The end. Bye.